was Sunday night. We had the radio on. In those days you had a valve radio and a 6-volt battery, and that was the only radio I had. We heard the Prime Minister that night say that Australia is now at war. I remember that very well. I was, about 15, I suppose, 14 or 15 at that time. We didn't know whether the war would still be on when we'd be old enough to enlist. Dad, having been through the trench warfare, his advice was that don't ever get involved in that. That was just hell on earth. A neighbour of mine, an old school friend who lived only 3 or 4 doors away, he and I boarded the Adelaide Express at 3 o'clock one morning together, came to Melbourne, and walked up to what was then the recruiting depot in what was the old Preston Motors in Russell Street, and we then joined the Air Force. And both of us were only a few days apart. We were just 18, just over 18 when we enlisted. Having finished the initial training school at Summers and being categorised as a future pilot, we then went on to an elementary flying school, which was at Penalla in those days. And from the elementary training school, we went then to a service training school at Deniliquin. And there we flew Wirraways. And if you completed the course satisfactorily, you got your wings. And having joined up on the 29th of January 43, I sailed from Melbourne on the New Amsterdam on the 29th of January 1944. But after a rather remarkable trip halfway around the world on our own in this ship, landed on the Clyde in Scotland. It was 6 months prior to the invasion, so the forces had been built up with Australians, Canadians, Americans. The place was just teeming with troops, and they had to do something with us. And of course the first question that was asked, "What do you want, son?" And of course the stock answer was, "Fighter, sir, fighter, sir." I joined 3 Squadron, which was an all-Australian fighter squadron. Another schoolmate of mine who was on the squadron wrote to me when I was in Egypt doing the OTU and said, I think you'll be coming up to us, look forward to seeing you. He was killed before I got there. And my first job on the squadron, I remember it well, it was a Sunday night, and it was a church. And it was being used as an observation post. And we had to go out and deal with it. Well, it was the first attempt at when you sort of had 6 machine guns where you pressed the tit and, things happen. So that was the first time that I suppose that you realise then you're involved in a bit of a shooting match here. We had what they called a pilot's mess, irrespective of rank. We had the one mess, we lived together, on taking the positive view that we're all flying single-engine aircraft and I'm looking after you and you're looking after me. Why have 2 briefing sessions when you get on the ground? And that worked terribly well, where the comradeship and the sense of companionship was amazing. That's been a colossal clue with those of who are left. There was a place called Klagenfurt that was a bit lively, and we used to do a little bit of work there. But then after the war was over, about a fortnight after the war was over, CO called us in and said, "Look, we better toss for this one. There's a job to go up to Klagenfurt." Well, I won the job. So it was a matter of going up over the Alps and coming down I suppose it was pretty memorable landing on a German airfield with about 100 German aircraft and about 300 German officers and gentlemen. And they'd seen a Mustang before, but they'd never seen one as close as this. I think we went away very young, but I think the service training we had, we came back pretty mature. We've had a very strong RAF association, three-squadron RAF association right throughout Australia. And there's been this comradeship born through war, which still is there today.